Got a major Deshaun Watson update from ESPN's Adam Schefter for this year and next year. Is he going to be on the roster? What's his role going to be? Let's talk about it from the insight we have from Schefty. Welcome into the Browns Report, everybody. I am your host, Joey O'Donoghue. Thanks for joining me here on today's show this morning. And guess what? We got to celebrate because we hit 65,000 subscribers. You guys are the absolute best for this. I mean, what a milestone. Anytime you get those fives or zeros, I feel like that's a big deal. So I want to celebrate that. Celebrate you guys and join the party if you haven't already. I make free daily Browns videos. If you want to be in the know, what's going on with your favorite football team, it's free. Join the 65,000 people who have done it already. Seriously, huge thank you to you guys. That is something to celebrate. Let's get into Schefter's update on Watson. Though quarterback Deshaun Watson is unlikely to play this season, the Cleveland Browns are planning to have him on their roster next season, league sources told ESPN. The Browns opened the practice window on Watson on Wednesday, but they did so in order to give him first practices this season so that he would not be away from football until next spring. All right, lots to unpack here. The first part of that, I think, is actually a good sign for the Cleveland Browns, right? Because Watson pretty much confirmed he's not going to play the rest of this year. Stefanski says Shedeur is the starter going forward. He will get more games. He looked good in that Titans game with the 4 total touchdowns. Numbers were making their way into Browns history. So good job by Sanders there. I think the Browns actually doing something positive. For once, evaluate 12 for the next 4 games. You can see what you have. There's no competition right now. It's just pure evaluation before the NFL draft in the quarterback spot. But what does this mean for the backup quarterback for the rest of this year, right? Well, Ian Rappaport says, could Watson be activated to the 53-man active roster off the PUP list in the role of a backup in the event of an injury to a quarterback already on the roster? It's possible. So does this mean they're done with Dillon Gabriel officially? The 3rd-round pick wasted, 5 starts. I mean, didn't really see much improvement through each game, each week. Like, what's his role going to be? Is he off the roster next year? Can you trade Gabriel? Because if you're going to draft a quarterback in the draft, well, there's no way you keep 4 on the roster, right? We saw that going into this year. If you don't, is he just going to be the 3rd-string quarterback? I mean, what happens to number 8 now in this situation? But to Rappaport's point, if Watson's practice window, right, the 21 days that has been open, they could activate him. And is he the backup all of a sudden? Like, is there a chance that he gets into game action? Crazy to think about. We'll keep you posted here on the show. The other major part of this from Adam Schefter is Watson will be on the roster in 2026. So we're riding it out, folks. I mean, it's kind of hard to get rid of him. I will say the positive part about this, though, is the team has consistently praised Deshaun Watson for being attentive, being active in the meeting rooms, helping the young quarterbacks on the roster. I saw multiple instances in the Niners game where Watson would go over to Shedeur on the sideline, look at things on the tablet, and genuinely help coach him up. It was a positive thing to have him there on the sideline. He's a veteran quarterback that's been to Pro Bowls, never for us, but he's done it before in league past. And so I think this could be a positive thing, right, on the Browns depth chart next year. If Watson is sort of a backup quarterback, if you find what you have in Shedeur in these next few games and say, hey, it's worth giving them the start, or even if you draft a quarterback perhaps, but if Shedeur could show you the flashes here in these next few games, I wouldn't mind Watson being the backup on the roster next season. I think he does actually provide a positive presence, and, like, you're not going to get anything for him at this point. He's kind of stuck. Like our owner said, you took the swing, you missed. He's here for another year, according to the league sources. And so the money's a big factor in this as well, right? Like, we're even more stuck with him because Adam Schefter tells us that moving on from him would be costly, as the Browns would incur a dead salary cap charge of close to $135 million if they released him before June 1, and a $53 million cap charge if he were designated to a post-June 1 cap casualty. The fact of the matter is it's hard to get rid of him. And the Browns and Andrew Berry, they're doing everything they can, restructuring his contract and just trying to push off paying this as far back as they can. it's hard to just release him, right? At this point, like, he's got 1 year left on the contract. I think it's reasonable to believe Schefter's report here that he'll be on the roster all throughout next season. What do you think? Is that the right idea? Keep Deshaun Watson on the roster. Give me a yes or no in that comment section. Curious what the Browns fans think. I know the fans started to quite literally hate him. And so there is that. And the numbers were not good. He has a losing record as a starter for the Cleveland Browns, 9-10. But like I said, as a backup on the roster, because you just can't really do much about him, I'd be fine with that. Help him coach up the next quarterback. So we're going to talk more about what Schefter had to say, why the Browns will keep Watson. He's got some more insight that we're going to look into here on the next segment on the show. We want to give a special shout out to our friends, our sponsor, and that is Prize Picks. This episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. It is the holiday season, the best time of year for sports, bowl games, basketball matchups, playoff pushes. It is all happening at once. And while you and I are out here making decisions every day, what gifts to buy, what to eat, which game to watch, there is one place where it feels good to be right. Prize Picks. I love this app, man. It's a lot of fun. I win money doing it, and covering the Browns helps me know what picks to make. I heard the coaches say they have no problem letting Shedeur rip it. So I went all in on the more on his passing yards last week, and I was right. When Cleveland plays a bad run defense, I'm all in on Quinshon Judkins' projections. And new feature alert. Prize Picks now has early payouts. If your lineup gets off to a hot start, you may now have the option to cash out those winnings before the game even finishes. Prize Picks is simple to play. Just pick more or less on at least 2 player stats. If you get your picks right, you could cash in. I'm trying to cash in again this week with my lineup, and you know I've got the more on Shedeur. More than half a passing touchdown, more than 149 and a half passing yards. Those are my goblin plays. And finally, Jake Bates, more than half a field goal made. Seems like he does that every single week. That's my lineup. You can make one just like it if you download the Prize Picks app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That is code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. Now let's take a look at what Adam Schefter had to say on why the Cleveland Browns will keep Deshaun Watson on this roster. Well, like I said, he's a free agent in 2027. And the money, it's too much if you released him. And so what's your other option? Explore trade options for Deshaun Watson at this point? Listen, 1 year left. I'm telling you right now he's going to be there. Whether he's in contention to start or be a bridge quarterback like other sources have reported, well, that's all up for interpretation. But to my point, what are you going to get for him if you tried to shop him at this point? I get it. There's teams that need quarterbacks. Maybe the Falcons are in the market, the Vikings for a veteran quarterback. Who is going to give up more than, a fourth-round pick right now for Deshaun Watson? You know how bad of a return that is for what you gave up to get him? Let's flash back to the dreaded Deshaun Watson deal. Hey, we got a sixth. We gave up 3 first-rounders for Deshaun Watson, a third-round pick, 2 fourth-round picks. He's a losing record. He's never played a full season for the Cleveland Browns. Just let this sink in for a second here. This is the deal, in case you forgot. And then we proceeded to give him guaranteed money in the worst contract in sports history, perhaps. Shout out Jimmy Haslam in the Browns front office. The money. This is another thing that was brought up here from Schefter. Watson has a salary cap charge of $81.7 million next season, which is the highest number in NFL history. It's guaranteed, folks. You have to take on the contract. You have to pay him whether he's on the roster or not. And so if you're not going to be able to get much for him, just keep him there. He's a veteran presence. I mean, maybe he'll even be in contention to start, but I think those days should be over. And so there's a really very real possibility here that next season is a quarterback battle between Deshaun Watson and Shedeur Sanders. We'll go into the year with that being the case, okay? Watson thinks he's not done with football. He's posting all over his Instagram story like, get ready, I'm coming back. Running around, working out. I mean, he's not done. He's practicing right now. I'm telling you, he's not going to play the rest of this year, but next year, there's a real possibility. Again, that's why these next 4 games, huge for Shedeur Sanders to show enough flashes to be in contention to be the day 1 starter again next year. Hey, build around me. You don't need to get another quarterback. If he goes out and balls out like he did against the Titans, against the Bears, the Bills, other defenses that are a much bigger step up, you got no choice but to give him the reins. Let him take over and build around him. If he doesn't show you enough, well, Watson's going to be in this mix, folks. Ian Rappaport also tells us that Watson starting in 2026 for Cleveland, while a young quarterback gets ready, could be in play. This is under the assumption that Cleveland would draft a young quarterback like Fernando Mendoza, which, by the way, I'm starting to like Mendoza. I'm not going to lie. The post-game interviews kind of got me fired up. I kind of like him. But I do see the Kirk Cousins in him. I think that's literally his best comparison. And so is Kirko going to save the franchise for us? A guy like that, it's not even guaranteed that he's going to be as good as Kirk Cousins, okay? So I'd rather see the flashes from Sanders this year. Seems like a guy that we could build around with the performance we saw against Tennessee. What do you think? Be the GM. Should the Browns bring in another quarterback? You've got Shedeur, Watson, Gabriel right now. Do you draft another? Do you sign another? Trade for another? That'd be ridiculous. What do you think? Bring another quarterback into this mix? Comment your opinions down below and who and how you'd get them. That's going to do it for us here on today's episode. Thank you so much for joining me here on this wonderful Tuesday morning. Hit that subscribe button. Like I said, over 65K now. You guys are the best for that. Join the party. Don't miss a video. Don't miss a piece of news. And we'll see you next time.